Hello everyone, welcome to KK4Z. My name is Scott, and I thought right now I would do a little comparison between the FTDX10, which is over here, and the ICOM IC-7300, which is over here. Both of these radios are listening on the 40 meter band, where there's a lot of activity going on. There's some good close spacing stuff here. As far as the setup, I've got them both set up kind of the same. Both radios have the 500 hertz roofing filter. The 7300 has one. It's called the TBF, and it kicks in at 500. If I go to the filter menu, you see that BPF? That's the bandpass filter. It's a 500 hertz bandpass filter, and it seems to do the same thing as a 500 hertz roofing filter on the ASU. So I'm kind of doing this is Friday, November 25th. It's the start of the CQWWDX CW contest. I've got some signals picked out, some pretty close stuff, and we're going to do a quick comparison. I'm following a signal, and there's a couple adjacent bigger signals around it, all kind of well within one another. So for right now, the other setup is I've got the digital noise reduction on both of these, and both of them are set to 15. Both are using the 500 hertz, either the 500 hertz bandpass filter or the roofing filter, and then the digital noise reduction is set to 300 hertz on both of these. Just to kind of give you an idea, and then later on I'll kick in the 300 hertz roofing filter, but remember, the 300 hertz roofing filter on the ASU is an additional 200 bucks or 175 bucks, so I'll do that later. So let's give a listen to this one a little bit. All right, looks like I lost my signal, the one I was kind of tracking. Let me tune this down a little bit. Okay, there's one with a couple signals, close by. Now, those signals on either side are within about half a KC on either side of these, so it's doing a pretty good job. So while we're doing this, I'm going to tune this one down. 86. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch over to the 7300. All right. Now we've got the 7300 playing. It sounds like on the 7300 that the digital noise reduction may be a little more aggressive than on the ASU. So what I might do is go ahead and just turn it down a little bit. Okay, you can hear a little bit ringing here, but that's got a closer signal. All right, I'm going to switch back over to the ASU. So now we're on the Yaesu. And I'll go ahead and put in the 300 kilohertz and see what that does, or 300 hertz. Okay, back to the 5. Now, you're not going to be able to hear as well as I can hear between these two radios because we're going through the iPhone and plus the extra ambient noise. But I will say that the audio quality is better on the Yaesu. It has a little bit better blocking, just like the figures on Rob Sherwood shows. And it is a little quieter. I can hear the signal. The 300 hertz CW filter works well too. It does even a better job. However, that being said, I can hear the same signal on the IC-7300, and I'll switch it back over while there's some good activity. So it's a little bit. So now we're on the 7300. There's a little bit more noise in there. I can probably maybe turn this down a little bit. And I'm running it. This is the CQWWDX contest for CW. So there's a lot of signals out there, a lot going on. The IC-7300 is, in my opinion, it is keeping up with the FTDX10. The sound is a little more harsh, we'll say. Maybe not as refined, but in general, whatever you hear on the FTDX10, you're probably going to hear on the IC-7300. So, it's a toss-up. If you are a dedicated CW contester or DXer, then yeah, the DX10 may be worth that extra couple $100. If you're just a casual guy, the 7300 is doing a good job. I mean, it's right there in the middle of all that stuff that the Yaesu is under, and it hears the same signal even with other signals around it, and it's doing a good job blocking it. Now, remember, with the 7300, to get that passband filter, you have to set your filters below 500 hertz. And that's a big difference that people may not recognize. But in a side-by-side, they're both doing great. And either one would work well in the contest. I'm going to give the edge to the Yaesu as far as the quality of the audio. But I think for the quantity, they're both doing a good job. And so we've heard this a while. Now I'm going to switch it back to the Yaesu one more time. And so they're both doing a good job. And so I'm not, it's a toss-up. Like I said, this is a long-term radio for me. It's one I'm going to use over the next couple months, maybe as much as a year. Mainly I bought it to be a field radio. But here you see it. Both of them, and I'll switch it back over one more time. And the antenna I'm using is a 270-foot off-center fed dipole. They're both using the same antenna, the same feed line, all the way up to the tuners. I think they both have a little bit of ringing from adjacent signals, not a lot, nothing to overly say it's going to interfere with you getting that signal. But I have no problems. I would have no problems using either one of these radios in a CW contest. I will give a slight edge to the ICOM as far as it comes to using your change transmit and your RIT versus your clarifiers. The ICOM's a little bit easier to use if you're going to go that route. I also think the split's a little bit easier on the ICOM, but if you're used to Yaesu's, it's good. I mean, either radio is good. My recommendation will still be, if you are new to the hobby, new to the service, my recommendation is still the ICOM 7300. It's just a little bit easier to use, and as you can see, the signals are, I mean, that's a pretty crowded band. I mean, that mark right there is a half a kilocycle, and so I've got signals within that, and it's doing a good job. And I'll switch it back over one more time to the Yaesu. And so this sounds like it may have a little bit more ringing coming in than on the ICOM. That's subjective because these signals are moving around and these guys are moving around a little bit. But, again, I'll put in the 300 hertz roofing filter. And you can see that 300 hertz roofing filter does do a good job. The Yaesu only goes down to 500 hertz. But that's an extra $175. Again, if you are a serious CW guy, maybe the edge might go to the Yaesu as far as receive quality. But in general, either one of these will work. I think they work pretty equally well. I've had this radio now for a couple months. I bought this radio I think in 2016 or 2017, so I've had it a while. What can I say? They're both doing a good job and really switching them back and forth. I know you can't hear as well because I'm going through my iPhone, but each is working well. Like I said, if I was for contesting and DXing and maybe some SOTA POTA work out in the field where you're working weak signals, maybe the edge would go to the Yaesu. Ease of use still goes to the ICOM. Again, for a first time radio, between the two, I would definitely go with the 7300 because the 7300 is just easier to use. If you look at my blog, kk4z.com, I talk about some of the shortcomings of the Yaesu over the ICOM, and they're not insurmountable, but they are what they are. All right, everybody, I've talked for long enough. I switched these back and forth a little bit, and I think you get an idea that either one of these radios will get the job done. All right, everyone, 73s, this is Scott.